Hi, second grade. In this video, I'll help you with Social Studies, Day 6, March 25th. All you'll need is your packet and a pencil. First, open to the 5-day outline. Day 6, March 25th. We're going to read the nonfiction passage and mark it up. We'll also look at the vocabulary slides for this week. Then we'll complete Cloze notes together. Let's look at the vocabulary slides first so that we'll be ready for some of the words that we're going to see in the nonfiction passage. Open to the vocabulary slides. I'll read the slides out loud. Feel free to follow along. Economy. The system for how people buy and sell goods and services in a country or region. Glaciers. Large sheets of ice moving slowly down a mountain or valley. Graze. Feeding on grass that is growing on the ground. Landforms. Natural features of the land. Livestock. Farm animals raised for food and to make money. Lumber. Logs that have been sawed and trimmed for use in building. Recede. To move back or away from. Sediment. Small stones and sand deposited by water, wind, or glaciers. Swamps. Soft, wet land often covered, in part, by water. Vineyards. Farms that grow grapes, a field of grapevines. Now that we've looked at the vocabulary, let's turn to the nonfiction passage. For the nonfiction passage, we're going to read and mark up as we go along. We'll mark it up by numbering the paragraphs. We'll also circle the topic of the passage. We'll underline the main idea of each paragraph, and we'll put stars next to supporting details. Feel free to put question marks next to items that confuse you, or exclamation points next to items that surprise you. Get your pencil ready and read along and mark it up with me. Regions of Missouri. I'll label this paragraph 1. The land of Missouri is as different as the people who live there. Mountains, rivers, valleys, plains. All these landforms and more can be found in the 24th state of the Union. There are 5 geographical regions in Missouri. A region is an area with characteristics special to that area. The 5 regions in Missouri are the desiccated Till Plains, the Ozark Highlands, the Western Plain, the Coastal Plain, and the Till Plain. I'm going to circle mountains, rivers, valleys, plains. All these landforms and more can be found in the 24th state of the Union. That's the main topic of this passage. I'll put a star next to the 5 regions of Missouri. Those details tell me what I'm going to read more about in this passage. Now, label the next paragraph, paragraph 2, and let's start reading. Located in the northern part of the state, mostly above the Missouri River, is the desiccated Till Plains region. Desiccated means cut apart, and that's just what happened here. Thousands of years ago, glaciers cut apart this area of Missouri. When the glaciers melted, the land had been transformed into flat plains with rolling hills. This is the only part of the state covered by glaciers, which is why this region is also called the glaciated Till Plains. Till refers to the type of soil left behind as the glaciers slowly melted. The soil in this region of Missouri is excellent for farming, and many different types of crops are grown here: corn, soybeans, and wheat. The cities of Hannibal, Kirksville, Maryville, and St. Joseph are in this region. I'm going to underline the first sentence. Located in the northern part of the state, mostly above the Missouri River, is the desiccated Till Plains region, because that's the main idea of this paragraph. I'll also put a star next to the sentence that says, thousands of years ago, glaciers cut apart this area in Missouri. That's an important detail that describes how the glaciers affected the land. Now, I'm going to label the next paragraph and continue reading. I'll write a number 3 and circle it. The largest region in Missouri is the Ozark Highlands. It also can be called the Ozark Plateau or simply the Ozarks. Many people enjoy hiking on trails in the low mountains, swimming in the lakes, camping in the forests, or floating down the rivers of this beautiful part of the state. The land is covered with thick forests, which provide lumber for the logging industry. Unusual rock formations such as those found at Elephant Rock State Park are also located in this region. The soil here is rocky and not as good for growing crops, although many vineyards successfully grow grapes. Springfield and Jefferson City, the state's capital, can be found in this region. I'll underline the first sentence. The largest region in Missouri is the Ozark Highlands because that's the main idea of this paragraph. Then I'll label the next paragraph, paragraph 4, and keep reading. The third region in Missouri is the Western Plain. A plain is a large area of mostly flat land, and many of Missouri's regions have this feature. This region is sometimes called the Osage Plains after the Osage Indians who once lived in Missouri. While not as large as some of the other regions, it is still important to the state's economy. The flat land is perfect for growing crops and raising livestock. Much of the region is covered by prairie grass, which grows naturally on the plains. Cattle graze on these grasses, which causes even more plants to grow back. This cycle of grazing and growing helps keep the soil of the Western Plain rich and fertile. I'm going to underline the first two sentences because those are the main ideas. The third region in Missouri is the Western Plain. A plain is a large area of mostly flat land, and many of Missouri's regions have this feature. I'll also put a star next to the sentence that says, while not as large as some of the other regions, it is still important to the state's economy. That detail tells me that this region of Missouri is still important, and it shows me what it does. Next, we'll label the next paragraph, paragraph 5, and continue reading. The coastal plain region also goes by other names, Mississippi Lowlands, or Southeastern Lowlands, because of its nearness to the Mississippi River and its location in the southeast corner of the state. This region also has a unique feature known as the boot heel, because it is shaped like the heel of a cowboy boot. While this area is also mostly flat, the land is low in elevation. About a century ago, swamps covered most of the region. Workers dug ditches to drain the water so they could grow crops. Farmers today grow rice, corn, cotton, and soybeans near cities such as Sikeston, New Madrid, and Kent. I'll underline the first sentence because that's the main idea. The coastal plain region also goes by other names, Missouri Lowlands or Southeastern Lowlands, because of its nearness to the Mississippi River and its location in the southeast corner of the state. I'll put a star next to the detail that about a century ago, swamps covered most of the region, workers dug ditches to drain the water so that they could grow crops. That gives me some important information about what kind of land was in this region and what people had to do to make it habitable. Now we'll label the last paragraph as paragraph 6 and start reading. The smallest region in Missouri is the Till Plain. Also known as the Alluvial River Plain, it is where the Missouri and Mississippi rivers meet. These two large rivers sometimes flood their banks in the spring season due to melting snow and heavy rains. Flooding makes the soil here very rich from the layers of sediment that are left after the waters recede. Missouri's second largest city, St. Louis, is in this region. Glaciers, water, and volcanoes each played a part in shaping these 5 different regions and creating the land we call Missouri. I'll underline the first sentence because that's the main idea. The smallest region in Missouri is the Till Plain. And I'll put a star next to the sentence that tells me it's where the Missouri and Mississippi rivers meet. That's an important detail that describes the area's geography. Now, turn to the Cloze passage, and we'll work on completing that. To complete the Cloze passage, read the sentence with the blanks. Then, take a guess as to what you think goes in the blanks. Check your answer in the nonfiction passage, and when you're sure your answer is correct, write your answer on the line, using correct capitalization and spacing. I'll do the first 2 for you, and then you can do the rest by yourself. The land of Missouri is as different as the people who live there. Mountains, blanks, valleys, plains, all these blank and more can be found in the 24th state of the Union. Mountains, blank. I think what goes in this is rivers or streams. all these blank and more. I think what goes in this blank is landforms. Now, I'm going to check in the nonfiction passage to see if I got those correct. Let's see. Mountains, rivers, valleys, plains, all these landforms and more can be found in the 24th State of the Union. Since I'm sure my answer is correct, I'll go back to my Cloze notes and fill in those answers, again with proper punctuation, capitalization, and spacing. There are 5 geographical regions in Missouri. A blank is an area with blank special to that blank. What do you think goes in these 3 blanks? After you make a prediction, go back to the nonfiction passage. See if you got your answer correct, and when you've gotten the correct answer, write it in the blanks. Afterwards, make sure to read through the entire text to make sure that it makes sense. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, call Mr. Constantino at 314-623-9553. Stay happy and stay healthy.